Proxy, table gaming, PTG, PG, Lucky Sixes.
Yo, yo.
We the crew.
We're here.
In the world of the crew of everyone
The
online.
PTG slash T9A crew. Massive.
I'm not really a fan of the whole massive thing.
No?
No, I don't really want to get any more massive than I am.
Fair play. Fair play. Anyway, we are here in a exciting capacity because it's the first day
Really
of the
exciting.
pre-release of the KOE.
Yeah, that's huge, isn't it? It's long awaited.
Yes, I know. I think it is as well. But yeah, and so here we are on day. I think it's like 6 days to go or something like that.
6 days of Christmas or something.
Yeah, so they say. And we're here to celebrate the Kingdom of Equitaine, but by giving you a battle report of it.
It's a bit different to our usual routine, isn't it? But
It
that's
is.
all part of the coordination and community getting together.
I know, it's been good.
Doing the shizzle.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's been pretty good with that regard. So they're stepping it up for sure, and their organisation.
Really are. Yeah, it's commendable.
And we before we get into the actual report, we had a look at the book, and there is a review coming. And there's also a background supplement review coming. So check out this week. There's going to be loads of stuff there. But we had a look at, and we were deciding what to do for this battle report, and basically there was stuff that you liked and stuff that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And there was still stuff after the stuff that we said about that we missed out. So we decided we couldn't do one battle report where it was Kingdom of Equitaine versus someone. We had to do Kingdom of Equitaine versus Kingdom of Equitaine because
naturally,
there's so much stuff in there. There's quite a lot of
and there was plenty left over. We could actually
was.
do another Kingdom of Equitaine versus another Kingdom of Equitaine. I think
so.
They would be very different.
So we've obviously all that you'll see as the week goes on, all the in-depth review of everything, but I've tried to do a little bit of a summary of what things are, mainly to help us when we're explaining it, if I'm honest. So this was my list first. So basically took 2 Killy Lords, one on a Hippogriff, one on a Pegasus, and also one of the Lords can be a BSB. Spoiler.
Not spoiler now. We're in the home straight. It's all good.
If you want to actually look at the details of this, I'll let you just pause it. But so I'll just go through it, and you can pause and read everything, and hopefully throughout the battle report we'll sort of get onto everything. But otherwise we could be here for an hour just doing this. So 2 Killy Lords basically, a damsel with shamanism because I wanted to try shamanism and not druidism. Then I've got a big unit of knights, a medium unit of knights, and that's my core field. A big unit of the new 50x50 Pegasus knights, which I only have the 40x40, so the models are class for this that we use. Proxy,
this is proper Proxy table gaming style.
A small unit of knights penitent, which are like a special, quite defensive. Quite defensive unit. 2 trebuchets because they're cheaper, baby. So they were actually my first thing that I put in. 2 trebs because they're like half the cost. It's amazing.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
And then a spring Fey Knight, which is a big old green knight basically, but with some other stuff as you can see there. So quite cool. Not a lot of stuff. But I feel I maxed out everything.
We don't need to go into too much detail with this because that's what the book review is for. And we appreciate you probably won't be able to get on board with what all of this does quite as much.
And even if we explained everything here, even if we explained everything, you would know. But essentially, my Lord on the Hippogriff obviously goes on his own. The Peg BSB goes in with the Peg Knights. They've got Oriflame, which is basically you don't have a BSB, so I want to charge through with that unit and see what I can do there. And the rest is just support. Really?
Yeah.
See what I can do. Your point of view?
Yeah. So similar approach, and I had a Killy Lord, except without really trying, I had a Killy Lord that was incredibly killy on the charge, and not so much off the charge. Whereas you could have covered your bases both ways, didn't you? Really?
Yeah.
And to back him up. I didn't have another lord that was killy. I had the folk hero option,
Yeah.
which is like your old Castellan. And he was a BSB bannerman, basically. And he had a couple of what's known as heroic traits now. There's a whole different ways that you
Loads of
can
stuff, yeah.
get out your folk hero. We couldn't even touch the surface of what's available. But he was basically just a guy who went alongside, you'll see a bit further down, the 48 lowborn levies, who were also equipped with the sacred reliquary, which gave fearless to the unit, which is quite funny on a big bunch of peasants.
Yeah.
And various other things. And they were accompanied as well by the damsel on foot. And I just literally clicked divination and never looked back. Because, I like divination, so why not? We kind of had a very brief discussion about it, didn't we? When you asked me what magic path I was taking, and I was like, I just chose divination, and you were like, okay, I won't choose divination.
Yeah, that
was the long and short of it.
Yeah, it's how we tried to do most of it as well. So
exactly, yeah, we just varying up a bit. For the rest of my core, because I've already mentioned the lowborn levies, I had a small unit of feudal knights, which I kind of had the idea that they were kind of mobile chaff, a bit like people have used small units of Knights of the Realm in old Equitaine. And then a decent sized unit of the Ordo Sergeants, which are a pretty funky unit going forth, we think, which for reasons you'll see during the battle. But they're not lance formation, which is why their number is not a divisible of 3.
Yes.
So, let's make that what you will at this stage, but you'll learn more about that over the coming days, no doubt. I went with the other 2 war machines, so 2 scorpions.
Yep.
The bolt throwers, basically. I had a unit of chaff because, everyone takes chaff except Lucky Sixes.
Except me.
And I also tried out the naiads, which we think is the right way to say it, because apparently that second I is a little bit silent.
Yeah, it's not naiades.
Yeah, it's not naiades, no. It's definitely naiads. And yeah, they were another wizard conclave with Deceptive Glamour. I didn't actually have scrying. I had Savage Fury.
Sorry, my bad.
But I only cast it once, so it's forgivable. Deceptive Glamour was what I mainly used them for. And I had another version of the Green Knight, because he's kind of been split into various different choices, really. The Ladies Courtier of the Dawn, which is a bit of a killy beast.
It is, yeah.
Which is pretty cool, yeah. But yeah. Oh, I think I don't think listed on there is my unit of Knights of the.
Oh yeah, your main unit.
Resplendent Knights or something like that.
No, absolutely.
Is that what they're called? I can't remember what they're called now.
There's about 8 different types of knights, by the way, guys.
Yes.
So your unit of knights, which isn't on there, is a big unit of Knights Resplendent, which are basically
11 of them.
Yeah, they want to charge. It's basically their thing as well. So
yeah, oh yeah, they are fully with the Lord. They are all about charge. So yeah, hopefully I amend my tactics accordingly.
Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely in there. We played Counter Thrust and Hod Center. We just rolled it up, so it wasn't too crazy there. This is your models.
Yes,
that we used for it.
Semi-proxying because you've got a lot of Equitaine models, but obviously we were using 2 armies.
Yeah, for 2 armies.
A few elves appeared here and there, didn't they? And you're actually using Paulin as the naiads, which worked quite well, actually, I thought.
Yeah. So that big blue unit is the Knights Resplendent we just talked about. You've got the small unit of Feudal Knights. Old Knights of the Realm. At the back is your 10 Ordo
Sergeants.
They're chaff, like you said, the Naiads, 2 Scorpions. Archaon model is Ladies Courtier. The Green Knight model is your main Duke. Lord. BSB, Sorceress, and the Reliquary.
Yes, that is it. Yeah.
From my point of view, like I said, that unit at the back right is just filled with 50 by 50 models of just generic stuff.
Dribbly.
The elf on the Griffin being the BSB. Then the Chosen Knight is my Lord, my Killy Lord on Hippogriff, with the Feldrak as the Fey Green Knight person. Big unit, of Feudal Knights, medium unit of Feudal Knights, then this unit of Penitent Knights with the Mage in, who, as a disclaimer,
we should start with it.
We will absolutely start with it. Was my first mistake, because they are unstable and she is not.
Yes, which is not an Equitaine mistake; it's a rulebook mistake.
Yes, so we had absolutely no reason.
She cannot go with that unit.
Yeah, no reason not to get this, but I didn't. So we put her in
the whole battle she will be with them. So we don't correct it, just so you know.
Yeah, and then obviously the 2 scorpions at the back. So not scorpions, trebs.
Yeah, you did also forget that you gave yourself a binding scroll and never used it.
Yes, I know.
So,
I know. Goodness.
On top form as usual.
the game of remembering this, isn't it? So this is how we deployed. I dropped for first after 3 because it's counter thrust. And it was like this really. So I think I put my peg knights down quite early on in the thing, and my wide unit of medium feudal knights. I remember putting down quite. So yeah. Otherwise, as we've described it there, and you put thusly. You do have a Strider banner on your big knights, so that's so everybody's screaming at it, going, "You idiot!" It literally doesn't matter. So yeah.
Absolutely.
On my first turn, you can't quite see because of this, but there are some units on the top right there as well. I'm just gonna move back there because I don't care. Hide the naiads and the small unit.
Oh, okay. Don't be hiding them.
So my first turn, I had a choice with the Peg Knights. I could either come back in, which is what I felt a safe option was to do, get a bit of cover and stuff, whatever, but also to get close to my Mage and the units that could do an Orison, which is like a new buff phase, I would say, for the Knights of Equitaine. Basically, they can get Orison tokens, these things called Orison tokens, to buff up their units in every phase, but predominantly the combat phases when you want to be using them. So I decided just for later on, I want to be close to that, so that I'm over there. And also I thought, a bit of psychology, get your guy on my complete left out of the game for 2 or 3 turns, not to remember. So yeah, there was a choice where I think I could get out of line of sight right at the top in your deployment. With the Peg Knights. So
around my Knights Resplendent.
It's arguably that is the better and more aggressive play, but I went for the safer option. So we'll see. Yeah. See how that goes. Otherwise, went pretty aggressive on the right, as I will take away now. So this Feldrek model is one of the Fey Knights, and he starts.
He had to deploy in the water, didn't he? And
yes.
On turn 1, he was ambushing, so you didn't actually see him in deployment.
So he wasn't in deployment, but he has to ambush, and I can choose when he ambushes. But I decided to go 1, and I decided, he's pretty beefy. He's got a lot of attacks. He's got high strength attacks. Let's see if the Naiads are only res 2, so yeah, let's go for it. Let's have a go. And see if he can take that whole flank, then it's a big point from my point of view. And the Lord just goes up because he can't be the leader, unfortunately, because I've got so many. There's a Paladin upgrade on him, so he can be normally. A separate
model, is it? It's an upgrade.
So there's a certain upgrade I took on him to make it immediately like divine attacks or something amazing, but that means he can't be a leader. So I've decided to just be him as a bit of a killing machine and go up there and see what he can do, and a bit of protection from the second Scorpion. So that's what I do. In Magic, you dispel Break Spirit. I don't cast Temic Summon because I failed to cast it, and I get Breath of the Lady, which is the new hereditary spell to give me an additional 2 Orison tokens. So for now, that's pretty
your
much...
army started with 2, didn't you? So this put you up to 4 before you'd have to spend any.
So we'll see what that does later on. But it's cast on a 6+, I think, at the minute. So 7, but 6 on dice. Sorry, yeah.
6 with master, yeah.
So 2 dice got it off, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. My trebuchet, the first was very light. Clearly, the light was shining down on the second attempt, failed, and then passed on the second. I think.
Yeah, I think you kill one knight resplendent.
It might be long range actually, so that might mean it's not. But oh no, yeah. So I didn't kill anyone.
No, you killed one knight resplendent. I think I had.
Okay.
No, maybe not.
Failed with the other Treb.
Yeah.
And over to your turn.
Oh, great. Yeah, sure. So yeah, we looked at the stats behind this, and obviously we know that feudal knights or knights in general, cavalry, are probably better on the charge. And so I probably could have got round this guy if it weren't for the naiads being there. So like I could have moved them both round and just moved past potentially. But I didn't like the idea of this guy in my backfield anyway. And realistically, I wasn't going to achieve much by just ignoring him. So I figured that with the naiads, who have 2 grind attacks each, so they auto hit, and strangely enough, they have AP3,
yeah,
which is quite handy for grind attacks. They would basically, so they would wound on, I think they were wounding on 6s.
No, they were strength 3, AP3, and I'm only res 4.
I thought I was a higher they were wounding on 5s.
So.
Yeah. So, I mean, you did have, I think it was a 4-up Aegis to melee attacks, wasn't it? But yeah, and basically I sort of figured that this might be an opportunity to get rid of that guy I actually regretted the fact that I hadn't deployed the naiads at least 4 wide, because that way I would have been able to get even more grind attacks in, because this way I was only getting 6 grind attacks. But yeah, I went for it just to see what happened on that flank, really.
Yeah, man.
And to make use of the feudal knights lances as well.
Yeah, sure.
I hadn't made use of the vanguard of the mounted yeoman at all. I basically stayed where I was before the battle. I didn't forget it. I chose not to move because I wasn't ready to sacrifice them at that stage. Now I was ready to sacrifice them. And so, yeah, they moved straight up and blocked off the Knights Penitent and the Feudal Knights, your big unit, which meant that I could pretty much move my Knights Resplendent, which is the unit in the forest, because like you said, they had the Strider banner, into a position where they were commanding the whole center, which was our objective, the red poker chip, basically.
Yeah. And
I think I left it 0.1 further than the pegs could charge, so that wasn't a possible charge for the pegs. And I was really happy with that position for them, basically, because they need to charge things in order to do damage to them. My Lady's Courtier, who was originally deployed on the far left, as you're looking at it now, I basically just marched. I kept calling it her the entire battle.
She might be.
The name of it is the Lady's Courtier, but that doesn't mean it can't be a lady.
Exactly, mate.
So yeah, she was basically gunning for the Treb and or harassing the Pegasus. So yeah, she was just running forward. She will be a she this battle.
Yeah.
My Ordo sergeants in the middle were just chilling out, and in Magic I got Know Thine Enemy off on the Feudal Knights, which meant that we were attacking at the same time, which is pretty big.
We had 2 bouts with it with was it Deceptive Glamour as well?
I had Deceptive Glamour on Naiads, which you dispelled, which would have reduced the agility of your guy to less, or to the same as my Feudal Knights. Or I could cast Know Thy Enemy to get them up to the same agility.
Yeah.
So yeah, doubling up the same effect really, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And Guiding Light I put on the lowborn because it wasn't in range of the actual Feudal Knights, so not really any reason for that. And yeah, the lowborn have just moved so that the guy can't see them behind the hill, really.
Yeah.
My 2 Scorpions did nothing.
Yep. So far, we're doing well with our shooting.
Yeah. And then we went into the what they called ordeals? No,
Orison. So this is in the combat phase. Yeah, this is in combat phase, and my Hippogriff guy is one of the Orison people. In my army, the other one
anything within 8 inches of him can get tokens added to them.
So and the other one is the mage in the other unit, which technically they both are, but I put them together wrongly, I know. But so I've got 2 areas that you can get this. Because I was and you were not, I put one of them is +1 to hit. So you can either get +1 to hit, +1 Aegis, or Fear/Terror if you've already got it. I decided the +1 to hit because I need to be efficient with my attacks rather than hold on.
And my units weren't within 8 inches of any of my Ordo Minister people.
Yes.
So my units were on their own, apart from the magic.
Yeah. So that's what we were at before combat. after combat. Yeah, I think you did one each from the grind and the charge.
Yeah,
Onto me.
the knights got a little bit rubber lancing, basically. They were hitting on 3s, I think, because of my +2 offensive. But I think I rolled a decent amount of 1s or 2s. So I didn't do as much damage as I possibly would. But then again, you got to remember that your guy had 4 Aegis to melee attacks. So, it was probably about right overall. And yeah, you are supernal, I believe, but you passed your test.
Yes, I'm stubborn with him.
Yes, stubborn
as well.
and
So
supernal.
it meant that I lost by 1, I think, because of a banner.
But the naiads are actually 2 HP a model, which is awesome. So
there's little.
cool.
We didn't know what to make of them other than a Wizard of Conclave unit, because they are res 2. So you like look at them, and go, they're not, and they're not like good combat stats. But actually, the grind thing is a bit of a. It's good because it took I think I had 2 up armor, so I think I was on a 3 up or something like that. So it took basically most of my armor away, and then just down to the Aegis.
It might have even been a 4 up. Might have even been 4 up by the time the AP3 went through. But and the naiads had a 5 up Aegis as well, so that's always slightly tricky to get through. Yeah, good stuff.
But this
I reform just to get an extra naiads grind attacks in for the next turn.
Because they're agility like 5 or something as well as another thing.
Yes, they were.
So high agility.
I think we were both. Yeah, you're 6 though, aren't you? I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
You're 6.
We're both quite high, but yeah. So I decided to help him out in order to do him. I could have gone into the naiads themselves, but decided to clear up this unit and do that, and also go into the bolt thrower, scorpion, with my hippogriff just to clear that off as well. My plan is not. I positioned it such that I just want to just go past the unit and be in his backfield rather than actually go into his unit, because there's so much combat res in there that I don't think I can hack it.
Yeah, in terms of build, I don't think the lowborn unit was set up quite as high static combat res as you used to be able to in Equitaine. I think there used to be a way to get like static combat res of 8 on a lowborn unit. This one's actually only got 6. Slight downgrade, but
still pretty good.
Still, if the Lord goes in and overkills in a challenge, he's still losing 6/4 before. If I don't wound him, and I shouldn't. Yeah. So that's still losing 2-0. There is no benefit to you going into that unit.
No, absolutely, because I'll just be there forever and counter charge.
Exactly.
Otherwise, I just sort of parted ways with my 2 units in there on the fence. Decided not to charge because that unit of penitents are fearless. And I didn't want to get to a point where in order to maximise, I would get a bit closer and then give you an easy charge with your main charging unit. That's one thing I didn't want to do. So I didn't really want to do that with my big unit, because I'd have to flee and I might go off the board with my big unit. Of course, I was like, right, I won't do it this time, and just see what I can do. I wanted to also protect my Treb, because the Trebs are now minimum range 18. Which was a thing. I don't know why, because it is very cheap. I guess I'm still used to the old ones, but decided that I get my Peg Knights over there, use the hill as a bit of a blocker for this point anyway, and see if I can stop your guy coming round that way. Then if he does and he goes into the centre, then I can go round your flank and hopefully have something decent, or maybe even on the hill, for example.
I think so. If you don't go there, then my Lady's Courtier is in your flank, and that potentially is a problem.
Yeah, so it was one of those. Another thing I could do was just wait in the middle and not worry too much about it. But that's what I thought I'd do. Break the Spirit off on your Ordos guys, and also Totemic Summon after you dispelled Breath of the Lady.
I did, yeah. I think in hindsight, I probably should have dispelled Totemic Summon.
I think you let Break the Spirit go because they didn't have an obvious charge.
And I wasn't planning. Because you hadn't charged my Mounted Yeoman. Yeah. And I wasn't really thinking this Auto Sergeant is massively offensive. Yeah. I wasn't planning on marching them, so I was happy with that. So, yeah. That's fine.
And then I did Totemic Summon, you let that go, and then you dispelled Breath of the Lady, the last thing.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was I was really scared of. I didn't really seem too bothered by Breath of the Lady, but by then I only had that to dispel. So.
Yeah. I failed I misfired and then can't fire the rest of the game. with
Yeah.
my
So
with my trip.
screw you for protecting him.
Yeah, I felt silly. With my other treb though, I do 2 wounds here, which is cool. The trebuchets, but worth saying at this point, at least, that they're not your typical trebuchet. They don't have a single rock,
No.
and they're 318 rather than 4x4 or 5x5 or anything like that.
3x8.
Sorry,
Not 18.
18. Amazing.
Well, I mean, what unit is 18 deep?
Yeah. 3/8. Sorry, yeah. So it's an interesting change. That's probably why they're a lot cheaper, but they're always strength 4 AP1. So swings and roundabouts. I quite liked it.
I thought you might be popping off my lowborn bit.
No, I just decided to go for this. To be fair.
To be fair, I think the one that could shoot still couldn't see them because they were behind the hill.
True.
But still.
This pops off 2 wounds with his breath weapon. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And over here, so my knights go in and do 3 wounds, which is pretty cool. I put all my attacks from the Green Knight Feldrak into the Naiads and only do 1 wound. Which means you go back with all your grinds and you pop me. Because I only had, I think, 2 or 3 wounds left. Which also means that the Naiads are out of combat. Now, do tell us, this would be a rule thing, do tell us if we did this right, but as far as I'm concerned, and I said this at the thing, they're out of combat, so they don't take any sort of tests or anything. The Knights, obviously, auto-con. That was just what happened. So you ended up running. I decided, because I was where I am, I didn't want to get charged by the lowborns easily. So decided to get out, dodge and chase you. I do. But obviously, the Naiads can reform, and it's your turn. So, pivot, sorry. And it's your turn. So, yeah, that's...
Flank charge.
And then, obviously, with our experience now of 2 combats, knowing that they have AP3, I'm not best thrilled by this.
No, I was, however.
Yes, but...
I was thinking, Naiads are the most combat-heavy unit in the Equitaine book now.
Yeah, man. That was very interesting. A few interesting things happened there. Potentially should have gone into the Naiads and made sure they were still part of the combat, but there you go. The...
Scorpion
goes down and I get out a dodge. I roll like a 10 or something, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Over to your turn and you take the charge.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I? Naiads were on a tear at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Going for it. I also saw a little opportunity, which Lucky Sixes so rarely leaves his opponents.
I missed it.
I think the first thing I did in my turn, actually, was I said to you, would you mind helping me measure this distance? I don't know at what point your heart sort of thought, what the fuck?
Immediately. Immediately sank.
Yeah, because you were like, "Oh crap, that's as far as I thought."
So we measured it, and I was looking, I was going, "Oh no, yeah, definitely."
I think the first thing I did was I said, "This unit, my lord, can see your flank of your unit round the hill."
Yeah,
that was the first thing I established.
Absolutely.
And then when we started measuring it, it was needed a 10.
Needed a 10. I mean, I literally just thought I was out, and when we looked at it, I wasn't. So you're like, all right, fair play. Yeah. And that's their charging unit against one of my big boys. So that was interesting. But you needed a 10.
I did need a 10. I didn't really see too much of a downfall in failing it, because your feudal knights that were behind the fence, I could, if necessary, chaff them with the mounted yeomen who were still alive. So yeah, there was really no downfall in trying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go for it, yeah.
And they got him.
Yeah. I think I
you leave a 10 on Swift Ride.
So yeah. So my charging unit that needs to charge. Job done.
Yeah.
Job done.
And at this point, we were like, "Oh, that is a big swing."
Yeah.
And we were like, "Yeah,
we
maybe."
looked at the numbers. We were like, "Yeah, there's no way the peg can do all right here."
No, absolutely. Yeah. Even with my Killy Lord in there, who's pretty tanky, but yeah. Otherwise, this is your movement. You did chaff in the middle.
I did, just because I wanted to protect my Ordo Sergeants, and I wanted to get my Lowborn forward as well. And I didn't really fancy both of them charging into one or other of those units. And what else are the yeomen going to do? That's their job. Didn't want to deprive them their job.
Exactly. I think you move up to where your thing is with the Ordo side. I got a bit snap happy at this point, I think. And also your guy on the left does come in to the centre. So
yes, he stays behind the hill just to survey the battlefield, really. Give me options.
I think this is before he's moved, so I think he does come in.
Yeah,
but,
you'll see him in a bit.
We'll see him in a sec. You get a wound off with an arrow strike.
I do, yeah. I mean, Unerring Strike isn't obviously a fantastic spell. It does cause you to... Is it Divine Attacks, I think? No, what is it about that one? I think there's some AP divine, on it or something. But
it's AP 1 Divine, but I don't think it got to it. Well, obviously the 1 did, but yeah.
1 wound, but they've got 2 each, so...
You didn't get Breath of the Steppe, you got Breath of the Lady. It's just obviously we didn't have the cards.
Yeah, because my army started with 3 tokens and I hadn't used any yet, that put me up to 5. Yeah, I think by this stage you've used the 2 that you gained, basically, so you're down to 2.
Yeah, I think so.
Now.
Yeah.
I mean, don't worry about keeping a running tally because it changes so often.
Yeah, very much so.
In this combat, it was as dominating as we thought it would be. Really, the Naiads just bossed it into the flank. Did take 1 win back, but that flank that you were hoping your dude would clear, the Naiads have done it.
Naiads have cleared it. So fair play. And that's a big chunk of points, probably 400 plus, about 800 points from mine. So really good
for
basically whatever your small unit of feudals is. So ouch for me. And then on this side, this before combat.
Yes. So my lord, my sainted lord, is also an ordeal guy.
Orison, yes.
I don't know why. Ordeal's one of the vowels or something, isn't it? Anyway, there's lots of O's going about.
There's lots of O's.
I put +1 to hit just to stop my rubber lance from happening, which is amazing, and I love that you can do that.
Yeah. And my hippogriff guy is the sainted version as well, but yours isn't a paladin, so he is a leader. For anybody wondering on that front. But yeah, so you go in. This is before combat. You give him a buff for +1 to hit. And I mean, you do 12, 13, 14 wounds to my unit of 15 because I have 3 each on the bigger one for people who don't know. And I swung back. I didn't do any wounds. I just didn't have the attacks to do it. And even with my Achilles guy, because he's got a lance, so he's tanky and has a lance, so on the charge is all right. But it was auto.
Yeah,
auto off, and you let me go because we're so close to the board, and I'll see you later, boys and girls. So both my flanks have gone.
Yes, that was a good start for KOE.
So probably about 1,800 points from your point of view in 1 turn. So it's not bad. It's not bad. At this point, I'm like, well, there's not a lot else to do, so let's clear up as much as I can. Clear the chaff here. Go in with my totemic summon, hoping to roll. I think I needed an 8 or something to get into the rear of your Ordos chaps. It'll at least pin them there. Was my thought, but I do need to clear up this guy. Otherwise, I even said to you at this point, I'm just going to run with my big unit as far as I can. So Swift reformed and moved up.
Well, they were in a real danger of being swarmed by everything I had until your lord could get back in the game, and he was obviously a bit stranded out at the top at that point.
He was.
If he can get back into it, then they might have a chance. But at this point, they needed to step back.
Yeah, very much so. And all he does is just go, well, I'll see if I can give you something to think about, really. Doesn't really want to go in even to the rear, but he gives me an option. I raise this one, so one part of having an Ordos Minister, so 2 parts of the new Kingdom, which we will go into slightly. You can have an extra banner on your champion. So your champion has like an upgrade for an extra banner, which means you can just buy an extra special banner, which is cool, extra combat res and things like that. Or some of the units can have an Ordos Minister, which gives you the Orison thing for your unit. And as an Ordos Minister, at the start of every friendly magic phase, you can raise 1 wound on your unit. So I had a wound on it. I decided to go. So
it's awesome for a unit of Knights Penitent because they're pretty good.
Yeah,
I had that on my lowborn. Go figure.
Yeah. I got Awaken the Beast for the toughness on them, thinking I'm going to need that. And I also get Break the Spirit off on the big unit at the top there. You let that one go, and I think I diced you on Awaken the Beast. I think.
I think so. And I think I immediately regretted letting Break the Spirit go, but we'll see what happens there later.
For reasons, yeah.
Yes.
I do a wound with one of my trebs onto your unit here.
Not the one that was right next to them, of course.
No,
it can't. It cannot shoot, and it's within 18 inches.
So yeah, I know. With 3-8, obviously it got all of you because you've only got 4 ranks, but only did 1 because I think it's only AP 1.
Only AP 1, so I had a 3 up, 6 up. Yeah. So
over to here, I kill the scorpion and do get in. So whoop whoop. I could have put interesting. I could have put a +1 to hit or one of the orisons on him, but decided he didn't need it for his job he was doing. Anyway, I obviously go through the yeoman and decide for this reason, I'll go back a bit, to overrun. And I think I overrun 10 or something like that. Obviously, these guys can't get in.
Because they're now engaged with the totemic.
No, your levies can, and can see my flank where we at, which we'll see in a sec. But the reason I went up is because I didn't want to give this unit a charge. I think it was like a double 6, but you would have taken it. And your Fey chap a charge into them, who at the minute where they are could see them. I just wanted to get out and basically go against your weaker stuff if I could, if possible. So they charge, they kill, they overrun, and they land here. And unfortunately, it got out of all the line of sights, which was great. But unfortunately, it left a flank. I went a bit too far, and I left a flank. I think I would have needed exactly an 8 to be in your front
from everyone
and avoid charges like I wanted to. So I got a 10, but that's I just have to deal with it basically. So this is how it looks before your turn.
My turn 3 coming up, I think.
Yep. And your turn 3.
Yeah, so this is probably the point where I started regretting letting Break the Spirit go off, because I did declare this charge. We forgot when I declared the charge that it would count for the hill as well. When we did the charge, we actually were like, okay, Break the Spirit, that'll lose, like, you fail on 1s and 2s, so I'll lose a third of my 55-odd unit. That's okay, because they're just low bonds. Yeah. But what we forgot at the time, and we do get it right when I moved the charge in, was the hill gets them for a double terrain test. So yes, you'll see the casualties in a minute. But yeah, I couldn't now charge the orders. Oh great, here you go. So I lost a decent portion of my unit, really.
Yes, this is the first chunk, and the second chunk is here.
Oh yeah, there you go.
So I mean, you started off with 48?
48 lowborn, a reliquary, and 2 characters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's only a 2x6, I think, in terms of models as well. So
yeah, I mean, I'm still static combat res 6 with the ranks I've got left, and I'll obviously have the flank charge and all that lot, etc. So it's still a very decent combat res, but I possibly didn't factor in losing quite as many of my little peasant boys.
No.
But still, I'm in your flank. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I move up my lady's courtier to, I think she is now facing your lord at the top, and also the penitent. I couldn't charge them, obviously, but I wanted to get close again. And also I wanted to see if the totemic summon beat my Ordos sergeants, so I could countercharge that potentially to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And my Knights Resplendent, I ignore the trebuchet because I figure they've got bigger targets.
And it can't shoot, right? So it's
it can't shoot. It's literally no threat to me whatsoever. And I figured that I was 1-0 up on the centre objective at the moment. Are the Knights Penitent scoring? I don't think they are, because they're fearless and supernal.
I think I am. I think they are. Yeah. I think at the end of this turn, if I survive, we draw.
Yes. Okay.
I think.
I think when we measure it, you're actually out of 6 inches, actually, as it happens. But yes, that was my thinking. I wanted to bolster the centre, really. Yeah. And the Naiads just move out of line of sight of your lord at the back, because they're having fun. Magic-wise, I get Deceptive Glamour on your Knight's Penitent, so that you are minus offensive, defensive, and agility, which is just to help me out, really. I mean, no one's really expecting.
You did it actually on the lower one, didn't you? Because so that you could get Evil Eye off on
your lord,
and you thought I would let it go, which I did to stop the higher Know Thy Enemy, I think.
Yes, exactly, yeah. And I also put scrying on my Ordos Sergeant to make the totemic summon have less chance of doing damage to me.
Yeah.
That was magic. You put +1 to hit on your 2 penitent knights going in the flank.
And you put it on your.
Oh, I did.
Ordos
And I put it on the Ordos Sergeants as well. So yeah, we're using tokens to buff ourselves up a bit.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think at this point my leftmost is in 6. I think it's if I lose any models that I'm out of 6 of the centre. But we'll see.
In the combat, scrying helps to minimise my losses of the Ordo Sergeant. I think I lose 1.
Yeah.
But I do hold, obviously, with being steadfast and whatnot.
Yeah, man.
And I'm in BSB reroll range. And so I just turn to face.
This is again showing that we both put +1 to hit on our units.
Yep.
With the thing, and this is after combat. So
yeah,
I do 4 to you, which I thought was decent for having 4 attacks.
It was very decent, considering I had parry as well.
Yeah, very, very, very good.
Well, obviously, the +1 to hit overrode that to make you hit on 3s. So
yeah, and you don't do any wounds to me in combat. Break the Spirit probably didn't help your case, but otherwise you're only strength 3.
I only had hand weapon shield for the parry. I wasn't wielding anything useful.
But I do lose 4 wounds to unstable, so I lose everything after everything. Even winning 4-0 on combat, I lose 4-0, which was still pretty good. Which I think meant we drew the objective at this point, which means it's still 1-0 to you.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm thinking it becomes 2-0 at this point.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see when we get there.
My turn. So that is the end of turn 3. That's halfway stage. My turn. I charge in the flank here to hopefully mop up them points. Really just not to help my totemic summon because I don't really care, but I think it's easy points for him.
Yeah, massively.
And he gets in, which is nice.
Yeah.
Overall, it's
I haven't changed the 1 in the middle, so maybe you're right.
Yeah. So the only other thing I have to do and think about is with my big unit. I have 2 options. I run them off and don't care about anything. Save their points and they just survive and nothing else. Or I turn around, I end up where I am. I have a option to go against you, but I leave you a 9 with your resplendent units. That's my option, and I decided to go for the latter to see if I can get anything on the objective should anything crazy happen in the middle. Yeah. Is basically my thought. Over here, I raise 1 because of Ordos stuff.
So do I.
So do you.
But I just get a peasant for it.
And I get Awaken the Beast and Breath of the Lady off. I think I put Break the Spirit on your Resplendent, which you just stopped everything.
Yeah, I didn't want them to be anti-hitting or anti-charging. So yeah.
And then it meant I could get 2 spells off, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
I fail here, but not much else to do really. Over here, we both put +1 to hit on at the start phase with the Orison stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we go into combat, and I do 2 wounds, which is probably more fair.
Yeah.
You, I think, do 1 wound to me, and then
looks like it. Yeah.
The rest of the crumble, unstable stuff means that which means now for sure I am out
you're
of
right. You are right.
The center. So I need to basically kill you completely and do whatever. Yeah. So that's not looking good for my my mage
not ideal.
Unit.
No, who shouldn't be there anyway.
Shouldn't be there in the first place.
Yeah.
Over here, before combat, I put +1 to hit on both of the units because I can. Or I think maybe maybe you do as well.
I didn't. It wasn't +1 to hit. I think I put an extra Aegis save on my unit.
Fair play. But yeah, so that definitely puts me out of things. But also highlights as well that anything that is able to do the Orison thing is able to give it to 2 different units. You're not allowed to stack them on 1 unit, so they're only allowed 1 Orison token per phase. So you can't have +1 to hit and plus Aegis, but you can do it on multiple of everything within something within 8 of something that has Origin. So
Yeah.
that was
so
really
he
cool.
could give out +1 to hit to 3 different units.
Yeah, that was really cool. That's well, as many tokens as you've got, I think.
Can he give the same effect out to 3 different units? He must be able to.
Yeah, I think so.
We didn't read otherwise.
But yeah, so this is before combat. After combat, my lord, he lives up to being Killy Lord, and he decides not to overrun because he doesn't want to go too close to you. But my Totemic Summon does because it's 3d6 movement.
Yeah.
So
and he actually lands in a very good position.
Yeah, he runs right up here. Your unit's a flyer, isn't it? But otherwise, I think we've worked out.
Oh no, it is. I don't think I remember that yet
at
this stage, though.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But yeah, very very good for, especially a random mover as well. So I'm pretty happy with that. And this is an overview at the end of my turn 4.
Yeah.
I mean, things are looking a bit better. Really, it depends. I mean, it is just my lord, essentially, causing you any trouble. But
the Penitent Knights are probably not going to hold on much longer.
No, not with the unstable stuff. And I kept trying to turn to face, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Into your turn, sir.
Yes. So I had the decision to make. Go back to the previous picture just for a second. Sorry.
Of course.
Just as you pick up your drink to try and
that's
have
all
a
right.
break. So I had a decision to make at this position. And like Sixty said, you left me a 9 to charge my Resplendent into your Feudal Knights in the bottom right. And I could have gone for that, but my issue with, and the reason why I don't go for that charge, because 9 is obviously less than 10, they've already made a potentially game-breaking 10 earlier in the battle, so they were on form, and they do need to charge. The reason I didn't go for it is because if I fail it, your Lord on Hippogriff would almost certainly have a flank charge on them. And it's not actually that difficult, a flank charge. It's probably like 5 or a 6. It's not very far because you can fly over everything in between. And so that is why I didn't declare that charge, even though a 9 would have been, like, I think that's the game if I make that charge, because I go over there, I obliterate your Feudal Knights, I turn around, and the Hippogriff can do what he likes because I'm not facing the right way.
Yeah.
But as it was, I did, next picture, I did this instead. And I think I'll save my thoughts on it until we see what happens.
Sure.
But I send my Lady's Courtier over to your Feudal Knights to block them instead, so that they can't charge the flank of my Resplendent. Because obviously them charging the flank of my Resplendent is not good either.
No.
So I need to stop either your Hippogriff or your Feudal Knights getting into the flank of them. And I figure that the Courtier is very expensive chaff at like 480 points. But I figure he can probably do a bit of a job before going down if you charge him. Because he's pretty quick and pretty strong. And he has a 4-up Aegis in melee as well. So he might even be able to hold them for a turn.
And 7 attacks at like strength 5.
Exactly.
So.
And I'm very aware that at the moment I needed to keep that objective in my favour, and your Feudal Knights, assuming I managed to kill the last Knight's Penitent in the middle, who isn't within 6 anyway, I'm hoping to make sure I definitely win the objective by winning it this turn, and the next turn potentially. So that was my thinking. And the Naiads just move up a little bit haphazardly, just to continue looking at the battle. I think I moved them really uncaringly, and we'll see what happens to them as a result. I get no lone enemy on this unit, so that if anyone charges them, we've got high agility, which is obviously pretty important. And I get Stars Align on him just to help him out if you do indeed take the charge with the Feudal Knights.
Yeah.
And Guiding Light on my Lobon, I think it was.
Yeah, onto combat, and I decide I may as well use the last of my Origin tokens because I don't think I'm going to have any sort of way to bring them back.
No.
And do it there.
The one that comes back is only at the start of your friendly magic phase. You won't bring in extra Penitent Knight this time. This is when I was bringing back that Lobon guy.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah.
And yes, and it's so I don't think I do any wounds. If I do 1.
I don't do any back
you
either.
Do any back, but combat is
static combat
is enough. And it's at this point we realise the mistake we've made, because we look at it and go, okay, well, if unstable units join unstable units, does the unstable go on to them, or do they survive because of the the unstableness, or
something isn't right here.
Yeah, we went, oh no,
why have we never come across this?
And at that point we realised what a faux pas we made. But good to learn, and we make the mistakes, so you don't have to, folks.
That's the motto.
So don't put your mage.
Yeah, but what you did do, which was very fair play of you, and potentially we could have considered other options, but very fair play and good sportsmanship for you, is that you acknowledged the mistake you'd made and you basically just popped her and pretended she was unstable, which I think was very noble of you, really, because you could have explored, oh, well, maybe she just takes a wound and that carries on or something like that. There could have been another discussion, but you were literally like, no, I shouldn't have done that. She's gone.
We'll pop her. Yeah, it's not a thought.
But
so leaves it looking like this.
The lowborn didn't really have a good direction to face at this point.
I don't think, for anybody sort of thinking, why didn't you just get close and chaff? I don't think you had the movement to get right up close and chaff my feudal knights. So you decide that's why you put him there, to stop the flank charge.
It was only stopping the charge into the Resplendent. Yeah. I knew I couldn't stop any other charge.
So on to my turn, and I have a few options. Obviously, you've buffed your Resplendents and things like that, and see what we can do. At this point, you're 2-0 up.
Yes,
on the
I
objective,
become 2-0 up at the end of Central.
At the end, your Resplendents are within 6, and nothing of mine is. So 2-0 up. I've got 2 turns, so I would need to get within and have your Resplendents go. And I'm like, it's very unlikely that I will draw the objective, let alone get anything by it. So I kind of decided to go for broke, because we're trying out the thing. I want to see what things do. And I put my Lord into your Resplendent unit. I had a long think about this, because I was like, I don't know whether this is the right thing. And we were like, right, risk reward, right? The worst thing that happens is because he's so killy, they should just the Lords should just kill each other. Worst case scenario. Yeah. Best case scenario for me is that he does do a number on you, and for whatever reason you fluff back, and you might fail a break test or something.
Break my 1300 point.
Yeah, so let's do it. Let's see if I can give it a go. And the Feudal Knights come in to finish off, I would say, the 20 odd, whatever it is, lowborn levies.
And I'm fearless because of the reliquary. So if you're thinking, why the hell are you not fleeing that?
Absolutely.
That's why I'm not fleeing, boys and girls. I would love to have fled that.
Another possible reason for not fleeing is I did have a random mover in the middle of your gaff.
Which is why I made the mistake with the Naiads. I completely didn't need to move them anywhere near. The only spell I was really casting was Deceptive Glamour, and that's 24 inches. So why the hell did I put the Naiads there? I literally was getting really happy with how it was going, and just moved them close, not thinking about it, and forgetting Totemic Summon can random move is really silly. Because Totemic Summon, funnily enough, is a lot better equipped to fight the Naiads than the 400 point odd knight that you had.
And the difference is Res 5 compared to Res 4, because they're only Strength 3 grinds, even with the high AP.
Yeah, my AP doesn't matter when you haven't got an armor save.
Well, that's true as well. But yeah, it meant they were only wounding on 6s, so that was pretty useful. Otherwise we go into no magic, so don't worry about that. Into combat, you possibly put something on them, like give them an extra Aegis.
This was your turn, so it's not me.
Well, you can still do the Orison.
The Orison token,
and that's for people. You can do the Orison in every single phase, friendly or otherwise. I do 8 wounds. Unfortunately, you're not steadfast.
No, definitely
and you don't do any wounds to me. Which means they break and catch you.
And funnily enough, that lowborn unit is worth a lot of points, because it's a Sacred Reliquary, a lowborn, BSB, and Damsel Master. So, I think killing the Penitents with a flank charge, it looks juicy at the time, but being fearless, in the same way that your unit of Penitent didn't charge my Mounted Yeoman earlier in the game, because they'd be stuck with a fearless situation. Once my peasants had got there, I was a beacon of points to give away. And especially losing half of them to the dangerous terrains on the way.
Well, that made the difference, because I don't think you would have. You would have been steadfast.
I would have been steadfast. I didn't lose that many to the Penitents. I lost 30 to the DTs. That was pretty good. It's pretty good. It's like, really good. And you're within 8 inches of the middle as well, which is amazing.
Yeah, so
6 inches.
If I get rid of you this turn, I can draw. which
yes,
is
exactly.
a thing. And we go on to the. Oh, look at that picture. So we go on to the main event. We should say we're both sainted. Sainted, amongst other things, means you benefit from all of the 3. What are they called?
Orisons.
Orison.
I'm
doing it now. Yeah.
You wanted to say ordeal, didn't you?
Yeah. So they benefit from all 3, which means they get +1 to hit all the time. They get +1 Aegis all the time. And Fear/Terror, which actually cancels each other out, doesn't matter in this regard.
For the record, the Aegis is only against magical attacks, so don't go panicking.
Sure. Yeah. Which obviously we both have.
This is relevant here, but
so I declare a challenge, I think.
because we decided you needed to, because it was your turn, and if you don't, not only does my Lord attack, but my whole unit attacks, which obviously you want to avoid, and you can avoid as a single character. So I thought long and hard about whether I should accept it or not with either the champion or the general. I didn't see. I mean, if I accept with the champion, then I think I'm in a bit of danger of, I just lose combat, and I didn't really want to do a test because I think you caused terror because of the Orison, which meant I was -1 to discipline. So I would have been leadership 8, not re-rollable because I've lost my BSB.
Yeah.
And with only 1 chance to pass that steadfast, I didn't fancy that.
Yeah.
So my other option was to decline the challenge entirely. You would have sent my Lord back and then probably done a very similar job on the unit itself. So I wouldn't gain anything from that. Again, I'd be steadfast 8. Not great. So that left me with the only option, which was to accept the challenge with my Killy Lord.
Yeah.
Who is only really that killy if he charges.
So yeah,
and he hasn't charged.
For people that didn't study the lists to start off, we've also got the Hippogriff, who's like Strength 5, Res 5. But my guy is a Hero's Heart paired weapon chap. So Strength 5, AP 3 on all his attacks. He does have advantages for charging, so he's got devastating charge, +2 movement, which was irrelevant really because I was quite close anyway. But also +2 attacks. Only if you're in the front though. Which is interesting concept as well.
You didn't get it against the auto side.
So I end up having 8 attacks, 8 or 9 I think.
It was 9.
With my Lord and 4 attacks with the Hippogriff versus your 4 attacks and 2 attacks.
5 because of Sainted.
5 because of Sainted, sorry. And 2 attacks with the Unicorn. Obviously, Unicorn's a bit Strength 4, AP 1 I think. I don't think it's anything more than that. You'd probably stack in my favour. You are a bit more armoured, so I think you have 1 up as opposed to my 2 up because of paired weapons. But
you've got divine attacks from Paladin though.
I've got divine attacks, so and that makes him not a leader as well. So that was we've got the leader versus the not a leader. Paladin, very interesting to match up. And
I had got know thine enemy off on me as well, which made me a little bit more defensive.
And you've got the potion of.
I did have the potion of swiftness, but I didn't even need to pop it in order to be attacking first because I was like agility 8 off the charge, which is crazy.
So it was really cool actually.
There's a lot of math hammer going on at this point.
Stuff, yeah. And after it, we did 1 wounded pop, which was so different. It was so like, we both did rubbish, man.
Yeah, but it has to be said, I rolled about average. You rolled really badly.
He was rubbish in this turn.
So we kind of knew that 1-1 was way in my favour.
Yes. So
because of your charge.
So I had a charge and a wound, and I had nothing else. You had a wound, 2 banners.
Yes.
And because you're in lance formation, you don't have ranks. So that was benefit.
Line formation.
You get loads of benefits, guys. Don't worry about that. Like extra, you have you can have 2 attacks in each of the things, etc., etc. But one of the negatives of having lance formation is that you don't count your ranks; you count as being in line formation. So, I was 2 in total. I'll do it that way. Peace.
Yeah.
And but you were 3 overall because you had 2 banners. So I tested. I was -1 leadership, discipline 9 with the same person down to 8, and I rolled a double 6.
You did. And the
hand was coming, and then
I took it.
Bing! Oh, by the way, the Hippogriff is in combat. Rolls. Oh no, I think just discipline checks are minimised. So we go, okay, well...
It is in combat. It is in combat.
Yeah, I was like, well, I rolled a double 6. So yeah, but... And we were looking at it. It was like, if you roll a 1 or a 2, you stick. So I was like, okay. I rolled it. Popped a 1, didn't I? So I stick around. It was crazy.
That roller coaster of emotions. I was on a high. I was like, yes, this is it. I've done it. And then
we both swapped, didn't we? At that point.
Yeah, totally.
My god. Yeah. So we ended up sticking in this.
The fight goes on.
Crazy pillow fight shizzle that was happening. And so that was very interesting. But it did mean because I didn't break you, it meant you won the objective.
Yes.
So there was that.
Because we drew this.
And this is what he was going through in his mind.
Nice.
On to your turn. This is what it looks like before.
Yeah, so obviously my lady's courtier had nothing to do now because he'd been left flapping, which was fine. I thought about charging the treb and getting the points, but I also thought if I can actually hold your lord up, I might need him to charge the lord's flank.
Yeah, because this will be your turn 5, so you have one more turn.
No, I was hoping maybe that would just add to combat res because I knew I was in a duel and I needed to stay in that duel to stand any chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just for this was for turn 6 basically.
Yeah. It's worth saying as well. We haven't mentioned it because literally nothing happened in the back. My guy didn't do anything, and you didn't do anything to me, so we just stuck around. Which is over here. Oh, this is as well. We decided that you would reform.
Yes,
and
because line formation, lance formation wasn't giving any benefits.
Yeah,
so I wanted to be steadfast for longer, and I wasn't getting any attacks because I was in a duel. So that was my thinking.
And going this way gives you a +1 combat res.
Yes.
As well.
Because of rank. I've got a rank. And if you kill my lord, I still have that rank.
Yep.
So. I get Savage Fury from my naiads while they're still alive to give me Fearless as well, so that I don't suffer the -1 if I were to lose the combat. So I would remain Discipline 9, which is huge if I'm testing. Was my thinking there. This guy, I'll tell you what, I had a vendetta against him by the end of it. He pulled it out big time, didn't he? He killed my beloved naiads.
I would say at this point, he's genuinely my man of the match. It's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so he, I think he did 2 wounds here, and then with the 3d6, ran you down, which was very interesting. And that's what it looked like over there. I think it was just the flea path.
So it's your turn.
Oh, this is my turn. So on
turned around.
Yeah, so going back again. And we will go, so going back to the other combat, and again, there's no pictures of it because literally nothing happened. We did.
No, that's not true, is it? We haven't done the combat yet.
Oh, it's on to my turn now, so we must have.
No. Oh, okay, sure. You're right. Yeah, we haven't done the combat in your turn, have we? Oh no.
No, because this is just the movement part of it.
Yeah.
Because well, spoiler, I turn and flee with my unit out of your line of sight, so you can't charge it.
Yeah, no, I've got confused. Carry on.
So yeah, in the previous combat, we do nothing whatsoever, and I think you win by 3, but I minimised. I roll like 3.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. You were easily sticking around.
I rolled it with my 3rd dice this time very, very quickly because I was like, well, it's 0-0, so whatever. And I stick around, which was good. But I do remember at this point going, come on, man.
Yeah,
you've got to do something. This is what you're in for. And I mean, your guy wasn't doing anything as well, so we were both our lords were pillow fighting, and it was like, come on, we're on a bat rep.
I was fine with that.
Yeah,
I was perfectly fine with that. If I stayed it like this the entire battle, I'm delighted. But yeah.
So yeah, I run away basically and keep their points. They've done well enough. I don't think I used them well, but I think they've done well enough on themselves to get basically those points.
I'm still not sure. I think this happens in your turn. You kill my lord in your turn.
Oh, okay.
I think we've got slightly waylaid with timings because I think the totemic beast kills the naiads in my turn 5.
Okay. Well, either way,
your turn 6.
Yeah.
This is the picture of your turn 6 movement before. Anyway, yeah.
Well, I think this is turn 6. My turn 6. Yeah, because
your turn 6?
Because of the next. I know what the next picture
is. Oh yeah.
So I think after and as well, I remember having 2 combats where I said, "Oh my god, he's rubbish," and then he pulled it out the bag, massive time, and killed your lord. So did the remaining 2 wounds on your lord,
which meant I popped my Black Knight's tabard which is an interesting one because it means that
Yes.
when my lord lost its last HP, he comes back immediately with 1 HP. But the problem I had in that regard is that the hippogriff, which Lucky Sixes has been slating and slandering and shouting at for the entire battle for being a load of useless piece of crap, had still got its attacks because I came back with 1 HP, but that was at the time of the attacks, and the hippogriff was still to go. And what did Hippo do?
At him.
Smashed him up anyway. You come back, you die.
Yeah, man.
So my Black Knight's tabard was very short-lived.
Yes.
Because he literally was eaten by
and it meant I had a 3rd combat res, which actually means that you've got 2 banners and a rank, which makes you draw.
Yes.
The combat res. We carry on going onto your turn.
Okay. Makes sense now.
Obviously stuck around at that point, and you've got 1 more turn to do something.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't obviously massively thrilled at the prospect of what was to come because I knew your lord could just slice and dice left, right, and centre. But I figured there's nothing to lose by charging this guy in. He gives me a chance of doing something
for sure, and combat res, right, as well as.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
However, once again, clearly the pep talk worked, and I do 5 wounds. I think I do 3 and 2. With my lord and hippogriff respectively. I might even. It looks like you've done a wound. Oh no, actually, to your guy on the right.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe that's for something else. But you don't do any wounds to me with anything, which was crazy.
No, I know what that wound is. We'll get to it. Yeah. I was also wondering, should I have issued the duel and dueled you out? But realistically, I would have lost almost the same amount of knights from a duel.
Yeah. Well, you would have, because you the duelist, who would be the bannerman or the banneret, has an extra HP. So
it would have literally been 5 HP.
Yeah, it would have done exactly the same.
So if you're thinking, why didn't I duel him out? It would have resulted exactly the same.
And you would have lost your rank anyway. Yeah. So you had a charge, a flank, and 2 banners to make 4, and I did 5 wounds, which meant actually overall I was up by 1, hence doing the wound.
1 wound for the supernal Lady's Courtier.
But also, and probably more importantly,
I ain't fearless anymore.
I sent your guys packing.
Yes.
Which was mad. Yeah. After
unfortunately for me, my supernal guy did pass his test. So really I wanted it the other way around, because if I passed with my Knights Resplendent, they stick, and if my courtier fails, he just takes 1 wound. Does he pop? No, it's only lightning block by 1, didn't it?
No, you would just be.
So if it was the other way around, then I would have been okay. But,
But and that is the last picture of the last bit of the game, and a very interesting game that basically the Lord turned, but also I guess Break the Spirit turned. I would say as well.
Yeah. I also think my latter game choices with my Knights Resplendent was off. I shouldn't have done what I did, but I did it for the right reasons. It didn't pay off. So,
absolutely. And you got the objective for sure because of it.
I did, So the Knights Resplendent did claim one of those 2 objective points.
Yeah.
So
we totaled it up, and it ended up that actually, because I was like, I think this is still going to be a win for yourself and stuff. But actually, because of all the points, and I guess losing the characters, which I in the levy unit, which I hadn't factored in, I was up on points, which was mad. Yeah. However, the objective told, and the Knights of Equitaine got 10, and so did the other Knights of Equitaine.
So we split the spoils.
So we shook again.
I should have stuck with the first one.
Yeah, for sure. And it was a 10-10 and a good game all round, and lots of talking points. And
really enjoyable,
really fun. And what we found actually is, because when we were there, we had about an hour left because it was a surprisingly quick battle. And we really liked some of the concepts that have come out of it. Obviously, you'll see in the review later on this week where we go into much more detail and stuff. But some of the things we brought out of it was the Fey units were very interesting. There are lots of different things that each of them can all do, especially the Naiads. We were very surprised and interested to see how they'd do. Orison is very, very good and very quite nice as well. From
it works. It works for the
and
I think.
we didn't see it as being massively too overpowered, but it is like a free spell and stuff. But I guess it's factored in to the army costs, right?
You have to buy the right units to get use of it.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Don't put unstable units with not unstable characters. Was another thing we said.
Also, don't put your Sacred Reliquary, which is an Orison buffer, in a unit with a BSB that is also an Orison buffer, because you are wasting your Orison buff.
Yeah.
Was that? Which I did.
And otherwise, all the lords are going to be very interesting. There's going to be lots of different, I think, lord builds that are going to be quite cool. There's going to be lots of army builds, especially to start off with, because there was maybe 3 or 4 units in the book that we wanted to try out and just couldn't fit them in.
Didn't get around to it. Knights of the Quest look very interesting.
So, I mean, I guess probably what you've looked at here is 2 armies with very maxed out units in terms of the bannerets and things like that.
We could have taken MSU, both of us, to get every unit in, but it might not have been a very good battle.
Yeah, and also the way you're doing it like this is you saw all of the upgrades that most of the things could have. So, like we said, the bannerets versus the Ordos ministers, so magical stuff and Orison based or extra banners, which is really cool. They are limited as well, so I don't think you can have them on 6 different units. But yeah, and also just the general feel of the book is pretty cool and pretty fluffy. And
we both came away thinking, what can we do to change our lists?
Yeah.
Let's write another list. And that's exactly what you want to be when you're exploring a new book.
Absolutely.
Like if we'd have both had this battle and thought, great, we've done that, tick the box, we've done that for the channel, don't need to do Equitaine ever again. Completely the opposite. We both want to play Equitaine again after this. It was really exciting.
Very much so. And basically we're raring to go. And I, especially having the models and things, I especially will be having many more battles with it in the near future. And I'm quite excited to bring you them and to do all that. But
I look forward to our book review, which is pretty good.
Yes, with a special guest.
Good discussion, special guest.
Yeah, special guest. So look forward to the book review. We've got the what do they call that? The background supplement with another special guest there coming up in the next few days. And tell us what your thoughts are initially on the battle report. Obviously, go back to the lists. There's enough information there to get the gist of everything there.
Can I do a cheap plug?
Quickly?
Yeah. We are about 20 or so, 28 at the time of recording, subscribers away from the big 1,000. And it would be a massive Christmas present to us from you guys if 28 people out there, don't care who you are, you could just be someone that a fan has grabbed and forced to subscribe. It doesn't matter. Just subscribe to get us to 1,000 for Christmas. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and always like and share where you can as well, because that really helps the channel. And put in the comments whether this is the first one you've seen, what you think of the book, obviously, and whether you've subscribed. Whether you've subscribed, say I've subscribed. It makes our day. And always, like the rest of the PTG community, like you guys always comment and
the comments are amazing. They're so good. Love it.
Keep that up. We won't ask you to do any more because you already do loads. So, but otherwise we'll leave it there for now. We'll get on the rest of the hype train for it. Very excited to come out.
Continue with the tech battles as well.
Yes, plenty of stuff, and there's loads of hobby and everything coming our way. If you want to look at all that stuff and you're more interested in that as well. So all the reason to subscribe, right?
I can't think of a reason not to.
But anyway, guys, thanks very much for joining us. Well done. That was a longer than normal bat rep as well, so well done for getting to the end if you have. I guess we'll see you next time.
We certainly will. Cheerio, folks.
See you later.